This is Screams After Midnight. I'm Peter, and I'm joined by the professor himself, Tim Vargulish.
Yo, yo, yo. What is up? What's going on, Pete? How's your day?
That was alright. I've been my sleeping patterns like all over the place. Like I'm
hmm
sleeping at weird times and being awake at weird times, and
hmm
it's shorter naps, and then getting tired. But this is alright. How was your day, Tim?
So you're a grown man complaining about naps?
I guess. I don't think you fully respect the fact that when we record these, it's usually at like 2 a.m. for me.
I don't even understand how that's possible. Like, I know
Uh,
you guys are in a different time zone, but it's not that different.
it's 8 hours. I can tell you exactly how different it is. It's exactly 8 hours different.
Next, you're gonna try and tell me it's not even the same day.
Well, technically, I am in the future. Technically, it's now the next day here. So
Well, luckily, no one has ever been interested in the future.
yeah, except everyone ever.
Well, I don't think we've ever done a movie from the future on this show.
No, we haven't. No, maybe one day, Tim. Maybe one day. Also, I want to put it. I went for a nice sort of low, sort of undertoned introduction there. I was going for a atmospheric horror. You know,
Mhm.
developing my creepy horror host voice, and I introduce you, and the first thing comes out of your mouth is yo yo yo.
Well, yeah, I was trying to match your energy.
Well, I mean, like I say, my sleeping patterns all over the place. So I know I don't have the energy for hyper, so I'm going for a different. I'm going for a low key like.
Diaper.
Did you just randomly shout out a word that popped into your head?
I, I thought that was the opposite of hyper.
What? Oh my god! We talk about horror movies here. Um, Usually, at least most of the time. And today we're going to talk about Your Next, which is one of the most pleasant surprises of the last few years for me. First of all, it's directed by Adam Wingard, who also directed The Guest,
Oh,
and
oh.
that was the name of that movie, right? I'm not forgetting that.
No, you're right. I
Okay.
didn't realize it was the same guy. Well, I think I probably knew it at some point, but I hadn't thought about it.
And he's got a new movie coming out later this year, which I'm definitely looking forward to.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh.
what what movie is that? I didn't know.
Uh, I think it's The Woods, but I've watched a lot of horror trailers recently, so I might be mixing it up with something else.
Okay.
But you can just Google IMDb him, and
Yeah.
you can see what his next movie is. But he's got one coming out later this year, and I'm intrigued.
Cool.
But this, yeah. So we'll start off spoiler free as we always do. But when I went to see this, it came out in 2013. It was one of these ones where it was finished like 2 years before that. It had been at some festivals, but came to the
Mhm.
public in 2013. And I
I didn't
remember,
I didn't realize it was that long ago.
yeah.
For some reason, I thought it just like came out last year. That's nuts.
And the only reason why I went to go see it, because I'd seen the
hmm
trailers and I thought it looked really generic and I wasn't really feeling it.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those days where, all right, well, we're going to go get dinner in a few hours, because this was like when I was still in university.
hmm
And we're going for dinner at a certain time. I was like, well, cinema's round the corner. I had the unlimited card, so I just go and see movies if I want to kill time. And we are like, okay, what do you want to go see? And we'd seen everything else that was like obviously worth seeing. And I was like, all right, let's just go see this. I mean, it'll be 90 minutes. You know, it's not going to be a long process. And
hmm
I walked out fucking loving it.
Wow.
I was not expecting
Yeah.
shit from it, and I walked out like pumped.
Yeah, I actually had like a pretty similar experience. I don't think I saw it in theaters, because I think I had a similar reaction that you had, like seeing the trailer and the posters. It's like, Oh, another home invasion movie. Some dudes in creepy animal masks. Huh, what will they think of next? Kind of reaction. And then I don't know if I really heard much about when it was in theaters, but I think around the time maybe it had come out, I remember a lot of people being like, "Oh wow!" Like kind of like you said, like, "Oh, what a surprise!" Like, "Oh man, this is like really good." Like, "Oh, I never would have guessed that this movie's actually like something else." So I remember rushing out and seeing it and be like, "Holy shit! Yeah, they were right.
Yeah,
It's really good."
I love it when a movie does that as well. I
Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong, I like being hyped for a movie that I'm looking forward to, and I like having the expectations met, hopefully.
Hmm.
But sometimes it does, and that's great. But there's something thrilling about not knowing
Yeah.
anything about a movie and then going to see it with kind of just muted expectations and just being like blown away.
Well, let me ask you, what do you prefer? Like, absolutely knowing nothing about a movie, then going to see it, and then like being like very pleasantly surprised, or like kind of knowing a little bit about the movie and thinking it's gonna suck, but then going to see it and being like pleasantly surprised.
Um, I'm try I'm trying to think of an example of the latter.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I think it sucks, it's just because I've seen a trailer, it looks kind of mediocre, but I don't really know anything other than the trailer.
I think also we're the kind of people that wouldn't just see a movie we didn't know anything about.
Yeah, kind of. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I kind of went into this not knowing anything, just based on a trailer. But
Yeah.
yeah, we are the kind of people who watch a lot of trailers and keep up with like the movie news, if you were.
But like, have you ever seen this? And like this baffles me, but like sometimes like it doesn't happen often, but every now and again I'll be at a movie and there'll be like someone buying their tickets like in front of me or next to me or whatever, and like they'll go to the person and they'll be like, so what's out now? Yeah, and they're just like there's like this movie's like what's that about?
Yeah, I actually I have seen it once or twice where I've heard
Yeah,
someone like at the at the cashier just next to me because there's like a row of them, and
yeah,
I'll just hear them like asking the cashier, "Oh, what's good just now?" And
yeah,
I'm like, "Why? Why would you trust some strangers a pit like?"
yeah,
I'm not insulting the like cashiers who work in movie theaters because there'll be plenty of them who have good taste. There'll be plenty of them who
yeah,
have bad taste, but there's enough of them that I know for sure have bad taste that I would never
yeah.
just like take their
And
word for it.
Yeah, and I think it's like it's crazy that there's like some effort, into going to the movies. Like it might be easier for some people, like, if they live like really close, maybe they can just do like a quick walk or something. But still there is a point where you have to decide to go to the movies and then to just go there and then be like, well, I'm gonna see something. Hopefully it's playing on the time that I'm there. Like
It's especially when you're paying for tickets. At least when I had my unlimited card and I could see whatever I wanted for free, at least it made a bit more sense to go. Oh, maybe I'll just saunter around and see what's playing.
yeah,
But
that
even
that I could see,
yeah,
but yeah.
but even then, like I would never ask people at the the tills. I would look at the what's playing, when
Yeah.
things are playing. So what's playing soon, and then are any of those of interest? And because I'm me, I have a vague idea of what each thing is anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm not like lost, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. But you're next. You're
Yeah.
next. Your next is, as you say, it's a home invasion movie, but it's actually so much more than that, and
Yeah.
it doesn't treat it like other home invasion movies. And I think
Mhm.
that's maybe where the trailer falls down, is because you see the dudes in the creepy masks coming in, and you think
Yeah.
this isn't that creepy, but it actually isn't meant to be for the most part, because the movie kind of flips it on its head, and that's not really what it's about in a weird way.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
about the main girl of Erin and how much of a badass she is, and I'll not say much more
I
than that in the spoiler-free section.
yeah.
But
I'll just echo that she like you like like fall in love with her like so much in this movie. Like by the end of the movie, like you're rooting like she's so awesome and badass. Like by the end you're just like so like hyped up and rooting for her. Like she's just like a great character.
yeah, she has to be one of
Yeah.
my favorite final girls, if not my favorite final girl, because she's just so
Yeah.
capable.
Yeah, like we won't. go into it too much. We're not talking spoilers, but I like one thing that I really like in movies is I like when the characters like fight back and it's not just running or like feeling helpless and stuff. And and like a lot of people do that in horror movies, but then it's usually like like maybe like the last 5 minutes or something, or they'll kind of get lucky with something, or
Yeah.
um,
Whereas this is the word I'd use to describe this. This was tactical.
yeah, that's great.
There
Yeah.
was thought went into what was happening, and
Hmm.
there was tactics being used, and like she is great. She's fantastic, and it's funny because it starts off with a very typical horror movie scene, which I think is done intentionally to set you up. And it's not actually that bad a scene. It's actually a fine little horror movie scene to sort of set up the opening title, and
Hmm.
then like we're introduced to all the main characters, and it just like everything. Like I think the violence in it is great.
Hmm.
There's some quality standout moments that I'll get to in spoilers. I think the music is generally pretty good.
Yeah.
It's
I think we probably like talk about a lot on here, but just that I don't know if it's just something that our generation really likes, but anything that's like a little bit of a throwback to that kind of 80s synth kind of score.
yeah, that sort of pulsing sort of sound that's in this movie.
Yeah.
It was very reminiscent of like some, not even the horror movies that John Carpenter made, but just some of
Yeah.
his synthy scores a little bit.
And then I was trying to think, like, I wonder if that's something like I think we both agree that that's something we both really like,
Yeah,
and I just wonder if it's something if that's kind of the era we grew up and started watching these type of movies, or if it's just something that's just generally like most people like.
I, d- I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a
Uh,
taste thing. I think there is people who just flat out wouldn't like it. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a case of necessarily growing up with it though, because when
Hmm.
I actually sort of look at my life, we're gonna get philosophical here for a
Yeah.
second. No, but when I look at like where, like I started watching horror movies maybe
Hmm.
I don't know 10, 11 years old, something in
Hmm.
that region, and like I think I watched some from the 90s first, and then I went back to the like I don't
Yeah.
think. I mean, that said, though, I suppose the sin stuff does sort of creep into other genres that maybe I was watching when I was younger. But
Okay.
I feel like most of my like 80s horror education,
Mm.
as it were, happened in my teens, which I
Yeah.
guess still counts as growing up. But I don't know, maybe
Yeah. I don't know. Just a little curious. But I don't know. There's just something about it. It just works like so well for this type of movie.
it does.
Um, like maybe not like yeah, it might not be good for every horror movie, but but I don't know, just something about it like screams nostalgia and just has like a nice horror vibe to it.
Yeah. As well as one thing actually, rewatching this, it's not missed a beat since I first seen it as well. I think it holds up.
Hmm.
Exactly what you remember it being is
Yeah.
what you get when you go back, which is kind of great.
Hmm.
Um, I will say, and again, this will be in the spoiler section, but there is a moment where I very inappropriately laughed when I seen this in the theatre, and people I think were
Okay.
staring at me a little bit weird. And I'll get to what scene that was, and I'll explain
Okay.
myself. I won't come off sounding like a lunatic too much, I hope, but I
Yeah.
will. I will explain it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I have some theories about what it might be. We'll see.
we'll see. But no, I think the pacing is great. I think it gives us a lead girl that we really root for,
Hmm.
and flips the genre on its head in a much better way than a movie we watched last week, which was Intruders, which was about a girl
Yeah.
with agoraphobia. But I feel
Hmm.
like this, when I watched that and it tried to flip things in its head, I was like,
Hmm.
you're not doing this nearly as well as your next. And it's
That's
kind
true. Yeah.
of it's kind of unfair to completely try and compare movies like that. But when you have something that
Right.
does have similar
Hmm.
themes and similar ideas, you do kind of pair them up in your head, and if there's one
Yeah.
that you already like more, you kind of judge the other one, maybe even slightly unfairly. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can't help to do it. I, yeah, like I still think that, yeah, I did like Intruders a little bit more than you, but I do agree it's definitely not as good as Your Next. And it does feel like maybe it, like obviously story and stuff is different, but yeah, it did seem like maybe it was going for like kind of a similar vibe or tone to it.
Well, I think we'll close off the spoiler free section there. I think I think we've made
Yeah.
it very clear that if you've not seen this, you should check it out. Because we loved it a lot. So, going
Yeah.
into the spoiler crypt, as we like to call it.
Open
Let's
up that crit.
let's open up that crypt. Oh, by the way, did you realise that the girl in the opening scene is Kel's wife from Outcast?
Oh no, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I noticed that rewatching it now,
Oh.
having watched some of Outcast, but
Do you want to talk about the cast for a minute? Because they have like some. It's kind of like a. I remember that's one of the first things hearing about it was like not only is it a, like cool movie with kind of like a little that kind of like you said turns it on its head, but it also has like a lot of like different horror people involved. Like
uh,
like Ty.
if you have something to say about the cast, say about the cast.
Oh, it was just like they have like Ty West is like one of the plays one of the characters.
Yeah, yeah.
I forget. I want to say. I feel like there was more though. Like I think. Well, Barbara Crampton was in it.
See
Wait.
the cop at the end. He must
Yeah.
be a cameo from someone because he doesn't feel like a real actor to me. See when he shows up, I'm like, right, that's like the director's brother or something getting a cameo. Like this
Yeah.
feels weird. He doesn't seem like a real actor to me. And I'm not even criticizing him. It's just there's something
Yeah.
about. It's like even with how he acts. It's just the way he looks. He has this non-actor look about him, which is kind of silly, but it looks too
Yeah.
normal. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I just yeah. If I was smarter, I probably would have done more research. But yeah. But I feel like I remember like
Yeah,
Ty
Professor.
West. Well, professors don't. They
Professors
they
don't research. Are you trying to tell me that professors don't research?
people research professors. Professors don't research people. And you can quote me on that. But yeah, like I remember like Ty West was one of the characters, and I want to say there's some other like maybe like like indie horror director or something that had a part or something like that in it. But
I'd have to look into it. No one has a like. I mean,
there really is only like the main girl is pretty much just like kind of like the main character.
yeah. I don't think. I think something that does stick out. Even if some of these people are actually affiliated with the horror genre, they're not faces that you instantly see and go, "Oh
Right.
shit, that's them," and like it feels like a bunch of unknowns for the most
Yeah.
part, and that's. Yeah, I always like that in a movie, especially when they're not shit. It's nice when you get a movie full of unknowns and they're good.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But no, so I mean they come to the house. It's the parents' anniversary. All like four of the kids all bring their girlfriends, boyfriends, wives, whatever it is they have, and they. So I think before we get to the chaos, we should talk a little bit how just some of the characters and how they actually like what the character is. So we get the
Okay.
main girl Erin and her boyfriend is kind of down in his luck, mopey, like college professor, funnily enough, and or teacher, I don't know, lecturer. I don't know exactly what his job title is, but he has
Yeah.
students. We know that much. And his brother immediately we get the sense is a dick because
Oh, yeah.
he like calls him fat and he's like I'm not fat anymore and he's like you can know you're fat, you're not fat anymore. And
Like-
even when people start dying, they're still screaming at each other.
Yeah.
You're fat. No, I'm not fat anymore.
Well, like you get that's one of the great things about the movie is like the characterization. I feel like you get like a real sense of like how the family interacts and feels about each other,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it feels like this very kind of like a little bit like a snotty kind of detached, like spoiled family.
yeah, absolutely. And what I like as well is he even gets a little redeeming quality as well because when all the shit's going down and he thinks the brother that he's been calling fat is like, and he's been given shit to all movie. He thinks he's outside and in danger. He's like, right, I'm going to go out and try and find
Yeah.
him. Like he gets a little like, all right, even after all this shit, he is still going to try and help.
Yeah, it was cool how like everything goes down and like the people do actually try to do stuff. Like it's usually not very effective, but like at least they are trying. Um, like
Well,
just okay, sorry.
I was just going to start going around some of the rest of the characters. We don't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
much of them, but there's a daughter and her boyfriend's a filmmaker, and we get we get at a dinner table the douchebag brothers like basically insulting his entire profession by saying
Yeah.
that commercials are the best thing ever.
His highlight commercials.
They're my favorite. I think they're like the highest form of art, and he's just being a dick, and
Yeah.
it's entertaining to watch. And
Mhm.
there's I think it's Felix and his girlfriend Z. They're the
Mhm.
emo sort of punky ones that clearly
Yeah.
stick out a place compared to anyone else.
Mhm.
And that's kind of your setup, and then the shit just goes down, and arrows start flying in. So let's start talking moments.
Okay.
I'm going to run to get help. This is the first moment we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Because up until this point in the movie, like, it's funny because this time I watched it, I was like expecting a good movie. I think the first time,
Mhm.
up until this point in the movie, it wasn't bad, but I was sort of still waiting for it to prove itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Mhm.
And she's like, "Okay, I'm going to run. I'm the quickest runner. I'm going to run out the
Yeah.
door." And few things in horror movies make me sort of physically react, where I like sort of cringe and go back and go, "Oh god, no."
Yeah.
But her running like neck first into this wire
Oh yeah.
that opens up her neck is like,
Yeah.
oh man, oh what did you just do? And this is the I think this is the point in my first watch when I'm like, oh wait a minute, things are getting good. Like, what? Oh,
Yeah.
this is better than the trailers made it look. This is exciting to hear. What's going on?
Yeah. It's pretty unexpected, and again, it's kind of like it's not like they're just like sitting ducks. It's like they're like forming this plan, and like there's kind of I feel like maybe there's like a brief second where you're like, it's a horror movie, so you're kind of like, yeah, it's probably isn't gonna work out. But then you're like, well, I don't know. They're kind of like they're actually being like kind of smart. They're like, oh, open the door at the last second, so he won't expect you to be going like full speed, and like oh yeah, like and of course yeah, her volunteering because she's like the fastest runner and stuff. You're like, all right, maybe like you have a little bit of hope, and then it's just like instantly like obliterated.
Yeah, it's just complete violence. People start dying really quickly. It's actually,
Yeah.
even though I just watched it, it's kind of a blur, just kind of the order of events at this point in the movie,
Mhm.
because like people just start, because the mum goes upstairs, and then
Mhm.
the one, like, because there's three like killers, as it were, and the one
Mhm.
who's been hiding in the house, we find out, like, comes out and like just kills her, like she's dead. You
Yeah.
know, puts the "you're next in blood" on the wall,
Mhm.
um, which, admittedly, given what we find out about the plot and like we realise what their motivations are, the whole "you're next in blood" thing feels
Yeah.
like, oh, you're just doing that to be creepy. Like,
Yeah.
you're not actually well, I mean you're killing people, so you're kind of crazy, but you're not like raving lunatics like Michael Myers, or you're not wiping your own shit in the walls or anything. You're just like,
Yeah, well, it's like, do you really need like the animal mask? Like you could have used a ski mask or something like,
showmanship,
yeah,
showmanship. It sells the idea that it's three lunatics attacking to go along with
yeah,
the brothers' plan,
mhm,
I suppose.
mhm,
Um, but what we're really going to want to talk about here is, actually, before we get to Erin, I want to talk. So, douchebag's wife
mhm,
makes a run for it as well and gets out, and she runs to the neighbor, and it's the neighbor's house that the movie opened with. So we know the neighbor's
mhm,
dead, and that CD's still playing on a loop.
yeah.
This was the moment that I awkwardly laughed at in the movies, because she gets
Okay,
to the window and she's banging on the window, and she turns around and the killer's like running at her,
yeah,
and I'm like, okay, good scene, good scene, and I'm watching, I'm enjoying it, and I'm thinking,
mhm,
right, when he gets to her, he's gonna like either dive at her and go through the window, or he's gonna swing an axe and kill her.
mhm.
I'm expecting that. But when he gets to her, we cut to a side shot and he just punches her in the face. And it's not that I think punching someone in the face is funny,
It's just like so unexpected.
but I was not expecting him to
Yeah,
just punch her square in the face. Like, it's a
yeah,
proper like front punch that I just started
mhm.
laughing. And this was the moment in the movies where people were like turning around looking, because I couldn't stop. I was in a fit of laughter at this point because I just was not expecting it, and people were looking at me as if I was fucking off my head. And it didn't make me laugh this time because I knew it was coming, but that first
Yeah,
time I was laughing hysterically at that moment, just because I was not expecting a punch. I was
yeah,
expecting stabbing or neck
mhm,
snapping, or a kill, but it
yeah.
was a punch. He just punched her in the face, and
No, I could definitely see that. Yeah, like it's when it's kind of unexpected, and especially if like the movie kind of like amps you up for like the action and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can see that reaction.
Yeah. So return to Erin, because that's really what the movie, the main attraction
Yeah.
of the movie is, just her being a badass and immediately like going for weapons. And you first get a glimpse of her badassery when like the guy tries to reach for the window and gets her, and she like stabs him in the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's cool, and it sets things up, and she starts assembling weapons, and the guy comes through the window, and she has like the meat hammer. I think that's what it
Oh
is.
yeah.
Yeah, the meat mallet.
Yeah, like
Yeah, well, I
yeah.
don't know what you call it, but and she just bashes him repeatedly over the head, and she does it maybe like 2 or 3 times too many,
Yeah.
and like the others, which turns out to be people who orchestrated the whole thing, but they're like staring at her like, uh, "You
Yeah.
okay there?" And
And
she's like,
and it,
"Thanks for the help. Like,
yeah.
you seem to have it handled."
And then that's like it's great too, like rewatching it, or just like once you get to the end and you kind of realize like, oh, like it must have been like so weird for these people, like, seeing her doing that and just like imagine what they were thinking, just being like, oh fuck,
Yeah, that should
we're
have been
not
easy.
expecting this.
Well, when I first seen this, I came out and I described it as, what if like you had a horror movie, and but the girl who was the victim turned out to be like Rambo. Like that's kind of what this movie is.
Yeah.
It's like, in fact, do you know what it is? It's kind of, in a weird way, it's kind of Die Hard. And let me
Oh,
explain.
okay. Yeah.
And let me explain what I mean by that. So, in Die Hard, it's terrorists. Well, just robbers. I mean, not to spoil the plot of Die Hard, but and in here it's the 3 psycho killers who it turns out are also just there for money, essentially, and they come in thinking this is going to be easy, but there's one person they didn't count on.
Yeah.
There's one person who's going to sneak about, set up traps, and take them out one by one.
Yeah.
She's even in a tank top, I think.
Yeah.
Nah, she might not be. She might be in a t-shirt, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
Something similar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it is very much that kind of thing, and this is where the movie really picks up, because she
Yeah.
kills this first guy, and then like the other guy sees him and gets pissed, and we get the reveal that the dipshit brother and his cookie girlfriend who tries to fuck him next to his dead mother. That's a scene worth mentioning.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give him credit. He doesn't go through with it,
Yeah.
but she really wants to be fucked next to his dead mother.
Uh, I don't know. I've heard worse things. Uh,
What sort of company do you keep?
I'll talk about it off air.
Okay. Okay. Well, maybe we'll have an after dark edition. Well, actually, I mean it's after midnight, so there's after dark. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Triple X edition. We're not doing that. But yeah, the mallet kill bit. When the guy comes in, though, and he finds, we find out that's at the killer's other brother. That's already been killed, and he's like searching around, and Erin is like hiding in the stairs to the basement, and I love this moment because they've I mean, in terms of practicality, when they're filming it, they've basically shone a really strong light through the keyhole, so there's this perfect beam of light coming through, and that's really cool at first. But then she actually like, sneakily looks over it through the keyhole, and the killer's eye's already there.
Yeah.
It's a really well done moment. I really like that. And then, of course, things get more violent because the douchebag brother's woken up because he passed out at some point because he had an arrow through the shoulder and he's, whatever. And he distracts him and she jumps out and stabs him. He doesn't die there, though. He runs off. No, he does die there. Maybe there's 4. Maybe I've miscounted how many of these bastards there are. Because there's definitely still 2 after this.
Just the guys in masks, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was only 3.
But
But
there's definitely...
could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe... I don't know, I'm misremembering this scene now.
They're really not that, like... When it comes down to it, they're pretty, like, indisposable. Like, they're obviously... There's a point to them and stuff, but it's like...
They're just tools, essentially.
Yeah.
They're victims for Erin to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like all this stuff, and it's when Erin goes upstairs and like she gets attacked by Actually, before we move on to that, because the brother killing the other brother happens in between here,
Yeah.
which I actually really like this death because so douchebag brother's like, right, I need to go out and save the other brother that he's been a dick to,
Hmm.
and Felix, the emo brother who's in on the whole plan, like stabs him with a
Stabs him.
tool,
Yeah.
and then stabs him with another tool, and he's like,
And,
see, every time he's done it, he stabbed him with like 7 tools.
and it's such a great like it just like pans down.
Yeah.
You just
And I was just like, why didn't you just pull out the same one and stab him again? Like, he just kept putting more into him. Like, oh.
That's what I like I like kind of like the shit like what's the like kind of the difference between like all right, you have the like these guys that are tactical killers, and then you have like Aaron who's like this badass, and then you have like the other family members that are like trying to help, but they're like not that good at it.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing with Erin's character though is not only is she thinking, right, we should board up windows, we should do this, we should do that. She then like, okay, if I can send a text to 911, it'll still get through at some point.
Yeah.
Like, like she's constantly trying to like think of plans and think of we should do this, we shouldn't do that. But yeah, when she's attacked upstairs in the bedroom and she's like in the room with the dead dad and stuff,
Yeah.
and she like uses her weapon right away. She knows she's kind of fucked, so she just jumps out the window.
Yeah.
And this is the moment where she's like proper, like she's already kind of a badass, but this is like, oh, she's a proper badass now. Like she knew her only way out of that was to just fucking die for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which obviously leads to the glass in her leg, and you see her like slowly pulling it out.
Yeah.
But as when she gets chased back into the house, and she,
That's kind of another Die Hard analog a little bit.
kind of actually, yeah, almost at the feet, yeah.
Yeah.
And she hides like in sort of the window behind the curtain, like up against the window, and hears the whole plan and all that, and the 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 one guy like comes in to try and kill her, and all goes ablaze. Everyone gets scarred and all sorts.
Yeah. What is this? Wait, I forget where I. But like my favorite part is like when, yeah, she's fighting, like the girl and the guy, and like
Yeah,
she's like
we're just getting to
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So like when she's like holding off the girl, and then she takes like the pot and like throws it on the guy, and
Yeah,
he just laughs like it's not even hot, but then he like slips and like
Yeah, it's like a proper bit of funny slapstick in the middle of the scene.
Yeah.
It doesn't even feel forced, and I love how he stabs her on the shoulder, and
Yeah.
she screams like she's not like a Terminator. She's in pain.
Yeah.
Like everything affects her, but she ends up pulling it out to stab the other girl in the head. Of course,
Yeah.
before she does that, she smashes the blender and then sticks
Oh,
that on
yeah.
top of the guy's head and turns it on.
which which that in itself is such a cool scene, but then it probably like leads to like maybe one of the best lines
I
in the
agree.
movie.
I agree. Oh, we forgot to mention our putting the dude coming in and stepping on the nail.
Oh yeah.
Which actually makes this remind me a lot of Home Alone in a lot of ways too.
I remember that was like a comparison. Like I heard a lot kind of going into it. Like I heard people kind of saying like, "Oh, it's almost kind of like a grown-up Home Alone," which, I think there are definitely like some comparisons to that. Like it's not 100%.
Nah, I'd say it's
But-
more Die Hard than it is Home Alone, but that scene in
Yeah.
particular makes me think of Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think of Marv stepping on the nail and like screaming as he falls back down the stairs. But no, that's really cool. And she set up the axe trap at this point as well. Like as the problem, if it sounds like we're having trouble remembering things, but it's just because like once the shit starts going down, it's just like constant things keep happening.
Yeah, it's pretty fast. Like fast.
Yeah, it just like it's such an adrenaline rush, and it's like such a rush to watch because
Yeah.
she's ducking and diving and dodging killers and like bashing their heads in and like killing them, and
Yeah.
we get to a point pretty quickly where she's off every killer, like all the
Yeah.
guys in the mass are dead. Like actually, before she kills the brother and the girlfriend, she's killed every single one of the mass guys. Like they're dead. She's won.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. And of course we get the plot twist, which her boyfriend, the used to be fat brother, is in on the plan. He was part of the plan and orchestrated it, and he comes in, and we get another great scene. And this is kind of impressive that it gives us a great dialogue scene at this point. Because not that the scenes of dialogue have been bad throughout, but this is actually a really great scene, despite the fact that it's mostly just talking. Because it's actually everything works about it in terms of like, the dynamics. And yeah, it's got that really funny line where he's like, oh, where's my brother? He's like, I put a blender in his head and killed him, which is the best line ever.
What's like that in itself is super awesome, but I also love the other brother's reaction because it doesn't like freak out. Like he doesn't go like over the top, like you did what? Oh my God. Like he's just very like calmly like, oh, okay. like like you could kind of like see him like processing like
Yeah, and
what
then
the fuck is going
he
on?
says another couple of things, but then he says, "And where's Z?" And she's like, "I killed her too."
Yeah.
But it's even when he comes in and he sees all the bodies lying around, and he's just like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck's happened in here?"
Yeah.
And then they have the conversation, and he explains, "Oh, you were meant to be the witness and like the one with no motive who could say this happened." But it
Yeah.
turns out you're really good at killing, which is really weird, by the way. Which is
Yeah.
a good line. Uh, and I love this scene because then he gets close and he tries to talk her down. He's like, "We can be rich. Let's not waste this. Let's do this. Like those student loans, you could have $500,000 like by the end of the month." And he's like
Yeah.
trying to pay her off. He's trying to buy her off.
Trying to
And
like super calm, almost
yeah,
like a hostage negotiator or something. Like,
and like the whole time I'm like, I hope she fucking kills him. I
oh
hope she
yeah,
like you can see it in her eyes. Like she ain't buying none of this shit. Like
yeah.
this is not about money. This is what you
Well,
did
just
was
like
wrong. Yeah.
yeah, like in the way she says everything, like you can just tell like there's like she like it's almost like she left her body. Like she's like yeah, like when she says like I killed her too and stuff. It's kind of like like look at what the fuck you made me do. It's like
Yeah.
that like there's like the anger where like people are yelling, but then there's even the worse anger, which is like when people aren't yelling, when they're just very calmly being like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're fucked."
Yeah, and then he does the one final thing before she finally snaps and stabs him in the neck, which is a complete
Yeah,
cheating moment, by the way. Is he's like, "I promised I'd be back, didn't I? Well, I'm here." As if he's a protector, as if she'll be happy that he's
yeah,
back, and he's like, "Fucking stab him, like
yeah.
just do it," and it's really satisfying. Then she
And
gets.
then you kind of, oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, then she gets shot by a cop who's shown up because we seen earlier on that the message went through to the police
Yeah,
uh, in his shoulder. And if I have one disappointment of this entire
yeah,
film, it's that the cop opens the door, it triggers the axe trap. We've seen a lot of great, like, good sort of like violent and gore moments throughout the movie. I'm really disappointed that it just cut to the title and we didn't get to see the actual axe hit him.
yeah. Well, the thing is, like, like it's such a it's set up. Shit, I don't. I think there's a term for it. Isn't there like a term when you set something up earlier on
You mean
and
like
then you
Chekhov's
kind of
gun?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like that like after she sets that up, that that's gonna be like a big thing. And then when I first saw it, I thought like, okay, like she's gonna let her boyfriend go, and then like she's gonna be like I don't really care about you, but just go or whatever. And then he's gonna like I don't know whatever go through or come back through the door or something, and then it will take care of him. Like that's what I thought was gonna happen. But then yeah, instead you get the cop gets it, and which would have been fine if they actually showed it. Um,
Because they almost end it on like a sort of funny note, like where the cop gets the axe, and I think
yeah,
it would have been better had we seen it, but maybe it didn't kill him. Like it went into his shoulder or something like that, and
yeah,
it was like he just sort of screams, and then it goes to like Erin, she's like, "Sorry," and then cut to credits. That'd have been
yeah,
funny, and that would have worked. But it felt very like, oh man, you set up the axe. I want to see the axe go into them. Like
yeah.
as macabre as that might sound, but we're fans of horror movies. That's kind of part
Oh
of
no,
what we get to see.
definitely. Yeah,
But that's like a minor thing. Like I love the movie, and I really like this about the movie as well. It keeps bringing like all the locations in the house back,
hmm
so that like when she's like running away from everyone, she
yeah,
goes in the window that the other guy tried to kill her through earlier, and
yeah.
it's like a cool little oh yeah I remember that, and it gives you like a sense of geography, and you get a sense of where things are.
It feels like a real place. Like it's not like a movie on a rail that you just
Mm.
keep going like further and further until you get to like the end boss or whatever. It's kind of like yeah, they revisit places and
It's one of the things I love about movies that are set in one location. there's this sense where you really get to know it and like know the ins and outs of it and all that. In fact, one
Yeah.
of the directorial points I want to bring up at this section actually is this is the only time in the film because the guy's already been like stepped in the nail and he's the one like chasing her and he ends up getting killed when he goes through the window and she's there with the knife and stabs him in the head. But what I want to mention about that from a sort of filmmaking point of view is that usually in horror movies you follow the victim and you don't know what the killer is. And this movie's been like that as well up until this point. But at this point in the movie, it's almost like Erin's earned the fact that she's now the predator.
Yeah.
And because of that, we actually now follow this scene from the killer's perspective, and we don't know where Erin is. But we're rooting for her. It's kind of like a weird thing. But it's a really nice touch because we're now following from behind his point of view and seeing where he's going. Because, like, one of my complaints when we watched Hush a couple of months ago was that they very quickly make the killer far too human and we see him and we know him and he stops being creepy. Whereas these guys, like, the point of them isn't to be creepy. You know, they're very just sort of militant about it, and it's like, it's about Erin like standing up and like fighting back, which I'm not expecting, and it's just but I really like that touch that it flips to his perspective.
Definitely.
As if he's the victim in that scene.
Yeah.
Except we're rooting for it, so.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like yeah, I guess I didn't think about it as deeply, but yeah, when you bring it up, that is what they're doing. And yeah, I don't know. She's just she's so cool. It's like it's very weird. It's like I don't know what it is just about like certain movies with like, you know, certain characters that you just like get attached to them for whatever reason, but like yeah, like, you know, her or like, you know, Ash or like a Ripley or something, like just sometimes characters are just like so cool and you just like want to root for him so much. And
Yeah, I almost want. I don't know if I'd quite say I want a sequel, but I kind of want like Erin to like travel into other horror movies and like hunt the killers.
yeah, no, it'd be cool. Like a yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if they did a sequel at some point. Which yeah, it's not something I would necessarily want them to do, but I don't know if like if it's all the same people involved, I feel like they could probably do something cool with it. But
it's like I don't really want a sequel to this. I feel this is a perfect standalone movie, but at the same time, I kind of want the continued adventures of Erin.
yeah,
like fuck, like just connect it to Evil Dead and put her in Ash vs Evil Dead next season.
yeah,
Like have her be be the partner of Ash, like
yeah.
in badassery.
Well, I'd love to see maybe like I don't know, like maybe like if each movie she kind of like always ends up getting caught in like some type of like different genre. Like with this one, it's kind of like, you know, like a home invasion type thing, and then I don't know, next one they can try to do something else.
It has to be something she can
like
fight though, so I would maybe avoid like ghosts, but like
right, yeah,
it could be like vampires or something, like something she could physically fight.
yeah,
Yeah, that'd be cool. We're just like we're basically just doing fan fiction at this point.
yeah.
So let's wrap this up and
Alright.
get to biscuits out of 10.
Um, yeah, this is, you know, this is only the second or third time I've seen it. Which is surprising because I really liked it the first time I saw it, and I don't know why. It's just one of those things I just guess didn't really have a ton of time for to go back and watch again. But I was really happy I did. Like, you know, even watching it again, it hasn't really lost anything for me. It's super enjoyable, and obviously everything you know we just talked about is great. So I give it a really high 9 out of 10.
Cool. I almost feel like I'm going to be harsh now when I say 8.5, but
I mean, that's what I was kind of. I was like kind of skating in that area.
yeah,
Like
it's weird because I feel like I get very like harsh with my scores sometimes because I feel like I don't want to give out too many nines because it devalues what a 9 means. So
Yeah.
I like to sometimes like things will go up after time because once I've seen it multiple times and I like you know it's sort of ingrained and I know it doesn't go devalue after multiple viewings and things like that. And obviously time just makes things grow a bit fonder. So
Yeah.
um,
Well,
but
I
for-
think that's yeah.
but for now I'm saying 8.5. but really fucking good.
Yeah. Jesus.
There's a car outside Tim's house that's really not happy with You're Next. Obviously, they're a filthy casual and don't like good horror movies.
Yeah. You should hear this shit I've been hearing at my place lately.
Poor Timmy.
A lot of downstairs. I know way too much about my downstairs neighbor's marriage at this point. Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, you can tell me about some of that off air too if you want. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not the best place to air it across the interwebs. But yeah, that's streams after midnight. You're next. Love to hear what you think of the movie. Comments below on YouTube. Tweet at us at mild_fuzz on Twitter. You can email us movie suggestions and things like that. mildfuzz@gmail.com. Before we plug all the regular things, I'm going to give Tim a minute to splurge his Kickstarter on you like the panther that he is. Go on, pounds, Timmy, pounds.
Yeah, so this is something that I've talked about a little earlier on throughout the year, but it's finally happening. So this new comic book that I wrote with some amazing artwork by Mark Teffer, who is now a good friend of mine. We met discussing this project a couple of years ago now, and it's finally finished. We just need some money to help with printing costs and shipping supplies, that kind of stuff. So Kickstarter is live for it. It's a comic book called Veterinary Clinic. It's a black and white horror comic book. I won't go into too many story details. You can check out all the stuff on the page. But if you like comic books, horror, especially stuff with animals, it's very animal heavy. I like to say, like, when you watch horror movies, if you're the kind of guy that roots more for like the animal character than the human character, this is a really good book for you. But yeah, it's called Veterinary Clinic. Again, check it out on Kickstarter, and anything you can do to help or share is very, very greatly appreciated. So yeah, please do anything you can. I really appreciate it.
Well said, Timmy.
Yeah.
Well said. Yeah, go check it out. And also check out our friends over at ronansreviews.com. They do written movie reviews. They sometimes cover some of the same movies we do. They also do concert reviews and album reviews. A lot of opinion piece stuff in written form over there. So check them out. And other than that, guys, yeah, follow us on Twitter. At Wibble89 for me. At Tim Vergulish for Tim. Check out the other stuff we have on the Mailed Fuzz Movies YouTube channel from 1.21 gigawatts. We just did Green Room. If you're interested in hearing some thoughts about that, check out Mailed Fuzz TV YouTube channel for all the almost cancelled TV reviews. Mr. Robot's back. The Night of's getting going. A lot of good stuff to check out there.
Stuff, yeah.
And yeah, and also we have a DC Comics podcast. If you like DC Comics, you can check out that called Comics from the Multiverse. And that is the plethora of plugging done. So thank you very much for watching and or listening. We appreciate it a lot. If you want to help out the show, like and subscribe and comment and give us like a 5-star review on iTunes. All of that stuff helps. We'd appreciate it. Give Tim your money. Lots of it.
Yeah. Well, if every person could just donate like $1,000, that would be fine. I'd be happy with that.
Why 1,000? Mortgage your house.
Yeah.
Remortgage it. Okay.
Impress your friends with how much you spent on a comic book.
Brag to your friends that you spent your life savings on Veterinary Clinic, even though the goal was only $2,500.
Right.
I gave him 50,000 because I thought, maybe. I mean, hey, it's in black and white. Maybe you can get a colorist if someone donates 50,000.
No, I will not allow that.
Oh, so sorry. The artistic intent is black and white. I do apologise. Tim's an artiste.
I'd rather cut off my own dick and choke on it than see someone ruin my piece of work.
Oh dear.
No, I'm just kidding. I would do anything for like $2. So, yeah.
Oh, you heard it here first. $2 and he's yours.
Yeah.
All right. That's been Screws After Midnight. You're next. What's next? Find out next time. Keep watching scary movies, guys. Don't pick a fight with the wrong Australian girl in the dark. See you next time.
See you.